Hello, Aldwyn, Altuney here. We have a fantastic guest today on Media Queen TV. We have the amazing Jaki, Everett. She's a holistic brand coach and she is our guest speaker tomorrow night at the Mass Media Tribe Meetup, which is online. It's going to be from 6 till 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That's Brisbane time. And this amazing lady has done some phenomenal things. She has worked with the likes of Michael Hutchence of INXS fame. She's worked with John Farnham and so many others. Her resume is massive. The amount that this lady has done is absolutely extraordinary. And she's kind of been hiding away in the shadows lately. And now she's coming out in the limelight and is back. So welcome, Jaki.
Hello there, Aldwyn. Lovely to see you and thank you very much for having me. And yes, the joys of technology and getting ready. That's the thing that I've lots of experiences behind the scenes and actually seeing how things work and getting to work. So it looks like it's a seamless entry onto the camera. No one sees all the hectic rushing around and scrambling beforehand. But anyway, we've arrived here and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Jaki. I couldn't believe your resume when you sent me some of the things you've been up to. I mean, you know, Michael Hutchence for starters. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are wondering, what was Michael Hutchence like? You know, I saw the INXS documentary recently and, you know, it did show that he had two sides to his personality, which when we caught up, you were talking about. So can you just let us know a little bit about your background and how was it you came to work with Michael Hutchence?
Well, Michael Hutchence was one of my favorite shoots. We call them shoots, video shoot, because you've got a camera and you're shooting people in a nice possible way. And on the shoot with Michael, there was just the photographer, myself, and Michael. And what was really clear was that he's a very shy man. Now, the media portrayed him as the rock. For those of you who don't know, he was the lead singer for INXS and a massively successful rock band. And yet Michael was shy. And he was an amazing gentleman. He was intelligent. He was a joy to be with. See, one of the things of being a hair and makeup artist is that you are given privilege to someone's image, and so there's a lot you're being entrusted with somebody that you're going to make them their image, you know, look good. So you get to know people a little bit. You know, you talk with them in a way that is personal, because you want to connect with them to give them a look that is actually not only on brand as per the record company, but also that the person's comfortable to go out in front of the camera. And yes, he was amazingly shy, as I say, intelligent. But it was interesting. I saw that documentary. It's early hours of the morning, and this documentary came on, and it was INXS after Michael's passing. And I have also cut the hair of the Farris brothers when I was hairdressing. Just happened to do both of their hair in a separate situation. And so I was intrigued when I saw this documentary come up. And apparently it's the only documentary that they made after Michael passed away. But they said he was misunderstood. He was very shy. And I went, yes, that's the Michael who I met. He was really shy. And yet there had been a news article that he'd actually beaten up a photographer, a paparazzi photographer. And I went, but that makes sense. He was shy. He was protecting his family because he was with his family, Paula Yates and Tiger Lily at the time. So how the media posed it, oh, a bad boy, a rock beating up on paparazzi. Whereas I automatically thought, well, the person I met would have been really annoyed of having paparazzi in the face of his family. So yes, it's all. So yes, that's how I met Michael, and the actual cover of Rolling Stone magazine was the shoot for the cover, and that was controversial unto itself because he was being shot by himself. He wasn't being shot as a band. And so he didn't want his name on the cover of Rolling Stone. He wanted In Excess. He says, in that documentary, he says, I'm a member, or he was quoted of saying that he's a member of a band. It's not about him, it's about the band. So, yeah.
Wow. And how did you come to get that job? Like, what was the lead up to that for you?
Well, it's really interesting. I was in Melbourne. I remember it was. I'm going to be discreet, because even as a as professional, you do deal with. I do remember the name of the photography studio, and they're very established in Melbourne at that time. And it's interesting because when I started hair and makeup, I was working in a salon in Melbourne, in South Melbourne, where all the advertisings are and all the labels are, etc. And someone walked into the salon and said, "I heard you wanted to work on shoots." I can't even remember mentioning anybody to anybody that's what I wanted to do. So I really recommend, if you've got a dream in mind, to actually let people know you have that. So here's this tall, dark, handsome gentleman comes into my salon, and my boss is standing next to me, and he said, we've got a shoot coming up this weekend on Saturday. Would you like to work on it? It was the Juzz commercial, Just Jeans, and it was kids version, so they had to be made up as a rock band, right? So I had like a 10-year-old as Elvis Presley. I had to put like choppers on him and spray his hair black and do a bit of a coif, Elvis coif. Anyway, I said to my boss, "Please, can I go? Can I go? But Saturday we're really busy. Please, please, please." Anyway, let me go. And that was the very first time I had worked in hair and makeup. And what I found at the end of the shoot was the stylist, the whole crew had never crewed before. The guy who was doing a social experiment to see if he could get beginners on a shoot together and see how it goes. He was a bit creative, innovative, and it was very successful. And there was a series of Justine's, just, we just want to have just. They had guitars and everything, and pink Cadillacs. These little children were acting as pop stars. Anyway, so that was the beginning, and then I just went out and promoted myself as a hair and makeup artist, and the rest is history. Yes, I've worked with quite a lot of celebrities, but interestingly enough, one of the things that I found more, fulfilling, was actually working with everyday people. I did transition out of standing on shoots, watching paint dry, working with a lot of celebrities, which I really enjoyed. I'll come back to John Farnham in a second. Actually, I'll talk about John Farnham now, because that was in Melbourne as well. And I'd already worked with John when he was the lead singer for Little River Band. These are all Melbourne, these are all Australian identities, but they have also profiled overseas. But anyway, one day I'm called to a shoot because I had an agent. A lot of times you have an agent, and I had an agent. I turn up, and there's or sometimes you're requested, of course, and John said, "Oh, have you heard my latest song?" And I said, "Oh no, I haven't." Anyway, we're chatting away. Very nice man. The thing is, we see celebrity how media portray, but celebrities are humans just like us. And yes, you hear about the diva and that people have demands, and because they're probably over having people saying, "Can I have your autograph? Can I have your autograph?" That type of thing. They are human beings. But John is a very down-to-earth. People liked working with him. That's really important, because it's not just the celebrity, it's a crew of people behind you. I mean, I wish I had a hair and makeup with me right now, because I'm melting. So if it was me, I'd be going, "Oh, okay, let's dab you, put a bit of powder on your nose there, dear, touch up your lippy." And so they made celebrities know that they're part of a team. of a crew, and they respect that, so they have the best person on the job as the camera person, they have the best audio person, they have lighting, they have hair and makeup, they have styling, they have your whole runners, directors, a whole team of people to make them look good on camera. But yes, so anyway, that afternoon I'm driving in my car and I hear this song on the radio. I go, oh my goodness me, that song is amazing. It's number one for sure. And there was John's song, You're the Voice. And what a special song was that. So if I'd heard it a few hours earlier, I could have said, yeah, John, I heard it. It's number one for sure. But anyway, yes, so that was John and Michael. So
amazing. And you actually, in 15 years, you were a crew member on more than 300 productions for multinational agencies such as McCann and Erickson, Saatchi, Young and Rubicam, Ogilvy and Mather and Foote, Cone and Belding. So heaps of, big names. You've worked on some phenomenal productions. You've worked as a personal stylist with executives from Microsoft, IBM, Amway, Pfizer, Australia Post, etc., always upholding their brand and standards. So today's chat is about celebrity branding secrets. So what were some things that you had to adhere to, or what would you say are some secrets you can share around, helping brand celebrities?
Well, for starters, they are front people. Celebrities are front people they are a brand for a brand, you could say. And they have an audience. So let me give you an example. Obviously, somebody from IBM, an executive from IBM, has got a particular corporate look to uphold and make them look as good as possible. Now, if you look at someone in the entertainment industry, say like Michael, if he was dressed in a tuxedo with a dicky bow tie, it's not going to look congruent with his fans. He's rock. He's got a leather jacket, or that long hair, and so that's the brand that is expected to be upheld for whoever that celebrity is representing. You could look at the Wiggles. They're more a holistic family type. So there's always a particular look that the directors and the record companies and the film companies, they're looking for a particular look. So if, for example, we're watching 300 sounds like a lot of shoots, but it might just be a one day, as a hair and makeup artist, as freelance, I might be 2 hours on a shoot for a magazine or something like that, or a one day for a television commercial. And when people are selected to be in a television commercial, it's not just random. They're chosen to represent that particular demographic. Demographic sounds like a big word, but it looks like the type of person that you would invite into your own home, whoever you are. It might not be the type of person that somebody wants to, like if it's a young audience, you're not going to cast somebody who's in their 70s. It has to be online with the brand. All right. And the influence, the area of who do you want to influence with this brand? Who do you want to buy your product? That type of thing. So it was never a mistake. And it had to be maintained. One person I wrote for the Australian music industry, just take this off for a moment, many years ago, how to market your own, promote your own music. That's what it was. And there's things that exactly today required today as was back then. There was only really 3 things that you needed. You needed a photograph, you needed a biography, which is like half a page or something, or page, whatever. And you also needed a channel to where you're going to, or it could be a CD-ROM or tape it was tapes back then. And so you've got your, okay, let me say that again, photo, bio, and your CD or whatever your product is, and you get up and you go and you knock on doors to try and get gigs at RSL clubs or venues, etc. So, but today, in today's world, you still need a photo, you still need a bio, and you need a channel or a message, a channel to promote. These days, I had the best thing to show you. Oh, anyway, I had the best thing to show you. It's a great big cassette that I had to carry around with me with all my television commercials on it. It's massive.
Oh, wow.
Cassette. Yes, but these days you just have to push a button. And so, yes. What was the question?
We're talking about some branding secrets of celebrities, and that's the thing, is when you are on TV commercials, I've acted in a few TV commercials, and there's storyboards, there's very descriptive outlines of what the characters are meant to be looking like, being like, what the scene's meant to be like, etc. So there's a whole team, a huge team behind a lot of productions, and people would have no idea, a lot of people, of what goes into a 45-second TV commercial. The amount of people behind the scenes, the amount of money that gets poured into it with the production, and sometimes there's the safety people, and there's just so many people working behind the scenes. It's huge. And, having worked with a lot of celebrities myself as well, having interviewed people like Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe and Cyndi Lauper, some of the people I've interviewed, and they're just like you and I. The main difference is, what's made them famous is that they love what they do. They're really passionate about it, and they have stuck with it, and they have done whatever it takes to make that happen for themselves. And sure, there might be a little bit of luck here and there. They say luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So, whatever it is you love, if you love it and you're in flow doing that thing, ideally in life you want to be doing as much of that as possible. And that's the big thing with celebrities. And, people like Michael Hutchence having the two personalities, having that sort of the shy side and the out there side. People like Jim Morrison of The Doors, he had a similar thing. And Jimi Hendrix even, they had like these two personas. They had the on stage out there, and then they had the, there was a shy side or a quiet side behind the scenes too. With a lot of celebrities, this happens actually. And it's almost like, they turn into a different personality sometimes on stage with some people, which is really interesting.
That brings me to the news, actually. That reminds me of the news. For about 10 months, I was freelance on the news, and there was a particular, which is not on air anymore, but there was a particular newsreader that scared me, because there she was talking away, very animated, and then suddenly she just turned into this person and started presenting the news. And it was like this very serious person, but there she was like, oh, and then it turned like that, and it scared. It was so cut and interrupt. It was so split. But these days, the television, like news presenters, it's a lot more personable. There were rules back then, like women didn't have. Had to have their hair back. It was quite formal, like secretarial, almost like. And I remember I worked with Kerry Ann Kennelly. It was a morning show, and I had her hair down. I had let her hair down, and apparently the phone had rung off the hook, because mainly off the face, because there's a talking head type of thing. This is some years ago. But these days, I will say I think the more personable that you are, what you're communicating is more important. And you look at, say, the project, for example, and the presenters there are allowed to be their own personality, and the more realer, more real. Oh, you understand? The authentic. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes.
It in there very well.
Yes.
More and unique that they were, the more entertaining the stories were that they were bringing to us. So yes. So
yes.
Things have changed, and But yes, the production, I will say that one of the things that, as you say, with a shoot, a television commercial could take months to prepare. Months. They could, months in the pre-production. Like there's 3 stages. There's pre-production, production, and post-production. And most of the work is done in pre-production. Your storyboards, as you say. And they'll have the cameraman in to say, this is a storyboard, so these are the setups, what type of lights are we going to need, who's going to be the best person for that particular job. I mentioned, say, on production, Ridley and Tony Scott, who are film directors. Well, Tony's passed away now, but they're brothers, Ridley and Tony Scott, and I used to work with them in London. And it's interesting because everyone, whilst they were from the same family, they're actually very different. And Ridley was very classic and Tony was very modern. So Tony had these tall, Bridget Nielsen was one of his partners at one point, but leggy models. And very modern, and he did Levi's. I think it's Levi commercials, whereas Ridley had more of a romantic, classic style about him. A beautiful man, but they both were, but beautiful. He always pushed his crew up when he was getting awards. He'd be pushing up his producers and that they go on stage first. Because he knew the principles of the people that you're working with, respect the people that you're working with because they're going to get you where you're going, type of thing. But he's a lovely man. Why did I say that? I was saying something about crews, and gosh, the lights are on and no one's home today. You have to forgive me. I just went back decades there.
Behind the scenes, all the work behind
the scenes, exactly. And so pre-production, there's a lot of work that's done in pre-production, castings, etc. So I would say there might be people watching today. So, well, what's that got to do with me? There's just myself and my webcam, and I'm trying to reach an audience, etc. One of the things about Ridley and Tony is they had their own style, and that find your own style. You don't, a lot of people are looking at influencers these days, and I suppose I'm a bit old school in as much as I see people trying to look like other people and try and mirror other people, and that actually makes me sad. It actually makes me sad because I'm sort of thinking, you've got so much to, their style might be the way that they visually present themselves. It might be their personality style. It might be their personal style. It might be their communication style. There are so many different aspects to an individual. But these days, I think people just maybe need to appreciate themselves, their individuality a little bit more than try and feel more comfortable being like somebody else. I totally agree with that. I was speaking at the Modern Media Conference in LA a few years ago, and they were asking the panel, I was on the panel there at the time in front of about 400 people, and they were asking at the time, what is the future of communication? How are we going? And I said, people are sick of the lies. I said, authenticity is the new currency. This is what people want. People want truth. They want people to speak their truth. They want people to be truthful to who they are. And that means celebrating your uniqueness. You're 1 in a billion just by being born. Everyone has a unique style about them. And, when we look at branding, branding is a massive topic, right? And sure, when you look at branding, it's important to be yourself and also consider your market. Right, consider your market as well but don't let go of that authenticity of who you really are, and do what makes you feel comfortable. No one's perfect. There's times we stumble over words and things like that. But be yourself. Be authentically you, and it doesn't matter because it shows you're a human being. And it's interesting, Jaki, looking at your bio, this whole brief, Jackie's whole amazing bio.
is in the promo for tomorrow night's event, which is the Mass Media Tribe Meetup. We're going to be talking about the 5 real you brand secrets. Now, you've also worked as a crew member in fashion photography. We've mentioned TV commercials. You also proposed, wrote, and produced a celebration of life, which is a fashion and lifestyles event, and a pilot video for the Australian Cancer Society. And this was reported on Eyewitness News on the 10 network. It was on the Today Show, on the 9 network, Everybody's Show on ABC TV, and also in print media. So you had a lot of coverage for that. So can you talk a little bit more about a celebration of life?
Yes, well, that was an honor. It's interesting. I found that the real type of jobs I'm involved with actually have resonated and I'm going to say impacted my heart on some levels. And this was particularly interesting because I just knew I had to. A friend of mine worked at the Australian Cancer Council, and I knew that I had to do. They approached me, and because I came from a fashion industry, I was known as a fashion hair and makeup artist. You can have people who are special effects hair and makeup artists. I was a fashion. Anyway, this event took about 3 months before it actually went ahead, and it featured breast cancer survivors, and there are 8, all different age groups from, I think it was 32 to 82. And June Daly Watkins was the choreographer from June Daly Watkins choreograph. Now, I tend to have creative ideas, and I didn't want the ladies to just walk up and down the catwalk. I had a vision in mind, so I actually wanted the catwalk to be in a letter I. And I wanted that each of the 5 fashion stores, I had 5 fashion stores. David Jones was the providers, very generously provided the fashion, and I also wanted the husbands in it as well. So I might try and for tomorrow evening bring some photos along for that, because it's an interesting situation. It was very successful. The ladies were amazing. They had sequences you would not believe. So the choreography, they were swinging their jackets on and walking down the catwalk. The finale, Prima Donna. I chose the song Prima Donna. I had the ladies in swimwear as well, and you would think, well, okay, that might be, having gone through breast cancer, that might be. So I had them in sarongs and that type of thing, but they are loving it so much, and they're inspiration to anyone and anybody out there who is actually maybe going through cancer. There are so many changes, updates with research, etc. I'm a 10-year cancer survivor coming up in May. So I can say to you, yes, it's scary. It is a scary process, but it's doable. And I think one of the most important things is that our mind, how we do that. And I really wanted to produce a video out of the event, and I went to the American Cancer Societies and in Atlanta, Georgia, and the London Cancer Society, because I felt there needed to be a positive message for people going through cancer, that you can survive it, because you get the diagnosis and then you're left with that. And where do you go if you haven't got any information? You make it up in your mind. So anyway, that one of the things that I was given permission for the video by Roy. I had Pretty Woman in it, and Roy Orbison, Barbara Orbison, I should say, his wife, had the rights to the music Pretty Woman, and she agreed that I could have that music in that video. But the other 4 songs, which I applied to the record company, they said, no, you can't have that. So I'd have to rewrite it. I'd have to re-record it again, which would lose its tone. I'm Every Woman was the opening song, etc. But it was because I had a few projects like that I actually retrained myself, and I did audio engineering. I thought, I'm fed up of I need to update my skills. I think that's what people need to do these days, is tweak their skills a little bit so they're more in the driver's seat. So I could re-record that music now. But anyway, I sort of went off in my own translation of answering that question.
No, that's all good.
The takeaway there is very important that people realize that that's why I called it a celebration of life, and make the most of every day anyway. There's no guarantees in life. The event itself was really, really like not a dry eye in the place. The husbands, I just tell you this little quick one, that they had to come along early to the event rather than just at the night. They come along early, and they had their suits there that they didn't know, their tuxedos there that they didn't know that they were going to be wearing, because I said to the ladies, now get their suit size. So we go to David Jones sends in the suits. We had roses, and so they were the husbands were bewildered, and they walked down and they gave their partners a rose. Walked down the catwalk. They in tuxedo, high fashion. Tina Vargas and a whole lot of fashion designers, the very successful, beautiful designers. But it was the message that was heartfelt. It could have just been another fashion show, but it wasn't, because these ladies found that there was more in them to do than what they thought. That's what they said. I would never have thought I could have gone on a catwalk and danced and choreographed and spoke on camera, because I interviewed them. And see, that's the thing. I say just take every opportunity with both hands, and there's lots of opportunities and so forth.
And I love the whole celebration of life concept. I had a friend that actually took her own life when she was 31, and she hung herself. And ever since that, and I was her age at the time, and ever since that, that's 15 years ago now, I'm 46. Every year after that, I have had a celebration of life birthday party to celebrate life and celebrate the people in my life, because, life is short. A third of people die by the age of 65. So if you're watching this right now, and hello to Ian, good to see you. Pop your hello up there. Ian Manson's watching this, and the others that are watching this right now, for those who are watching this live, if you have any questions, please pop into the comments there. We can come to any questions that you might have for Jaki today or for myself. Any questions, comments about what you've been getting from this interview so far. Life is short, and it's important that you love what you do, to make the most of life. Do what you love what you do, and as much as possible do that, be in flow with what you love doing, because anything else is wasting your time, and it's wasting your life. As you waste your time, you're wasting your life. A lot of people are doing jobs for the money, right? They're doing jobs they don't like for the money. Now, okay, maybe there's a place for that at times, but as much as possible, even if you're doing a job you're not enjoying for the money, on the side, work on doing something else. Now, a lot of famous actors have worked as waiters or waitresses, right, on the side to earn their bit of money to get by while they wait for the big film job to come through or whatever, right? And they say it takes a lifetime to be an overnight success as well. So that's the thing, is to be patient with the process, to enjoy the journey, and as much as possible do what you love to do and celebrate life, because it really is such a unique gift that we have to be alive and to be healthy, and to have the people in our life, out of the 7.8 billion people on the planet, to have the people that you have in your life right now is extraordinary, right? And there's a reason, I believe, that everyone comes into your life. I do believe there's a reason for it. There's a reason you're watching this right now, whether you're watching this live right now or whether you're watching the replay. There's a reason you're here today, and it could just be one gem you pick up from this interview that could change the trajectory of your life. Now, something else extraordinary about you, Jaki, is that you created the Olive Branch, a short film for mobile phones. Now, this film was one of 25 films selected from 800 international applications for screening on rotation, with the fourth screen installation at the 2007 International Festival of Pocket Films in France. Now that is amazing, Jaki. I'm looking at your bio, like what haven't you done, Jaki? You know, that's extraordinary. So tell us a bit more about the Olive Branch and how you came about creating that for mobile phones.
Yes, that's really interesting, because I only realized this a few years ago, which is really bizarre, but my mum's name's Olive. So that makes me an olive branch. Boom, boom. Yeah. And it's interesting, whenever you were talking about before about being in flow, I think it's important just to bring attention to what you were talking about there about being in flow. When we're in flow and when we're not in flow. And, I'm going through a sea change myself. I'm changing up. And I'm revisiting my creative self, which has been dormant for a while because I've been in an academic, left brain kind of environment. Really? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so you're an olive branch as well. There we go. Love it.
Another olive branch. Thank you.
And, yes. So the being in the flow and being congruent with who you are, and when we're in discomfort, it means that we maybe haven't found our flow. And I've been working on a project called Sea Change. And, the interesting thing is that we might want change. I'm coming back to the olive branch because it's relevant.
Yes.
We might want change in our life, but there's an expression, what is it, about being afraid to lose sight of the shore,
Yes.
Yes,
I know that.
Yeah, so letting go and surrendering.
So don't lose sight of the shore or something. Don't lose sight. What is it? Who knows that saying? Pop it in the chat if you know the saying.
Yeah. Oh, you're making me feel better there, Aldwyn, because I'm going, great moment. So the thing with the olive branch was that I was in a class. I love learning. I'm a lifetime learner. I would spend the whole of this session going, I'm a lifetime learner, because there's so many exciting things to learn about. And so I was in a class, and we had to make a learn some software. So I learned some software. And I cried through it, because whenever there's something creative, I cry through it for classes. That's the only time. I'm not a really teary person, but put me in a great creative writing. And I was, in this, making a little thing for learning how to do some things on for mobile phones. Stringing these pictures together. Anyway, 3 months later, I get a call about my film, and I'm like, I haven't got. This is on the big, thick. Oh, it was an old phone. And I said, I haven't made a film. And they said, oh, yes, Olive Branch. Anyway, it turns out it was sent with the rest of the students to a festival, and mine was selected out of 30 students out of that batch. That's the one. And it was interesting because I couldn't believe it. It's like, what did they see? There were images that were upright. There were some horizontal. It was terrible. It was my life in 1 minute, 47 seconds. It was just images. Now, these days, there's a lot of call for people's stories. And it was just photos with a voice over the top. But it was selected. And there, I think we can get so much, perfectionism and criticism. And, it's hard to judge your own work. But I mean, creative industries, which I've spent a lot of time in, they have critics. It's funny, the biggest risk that you make, you take risk to put your creative self out there, and somebody doesn't like it. And, but there is a chance that some people will. And so, and these days we are in a creative economy. We have all these new platforms available, and people want they want content, creativity. So, just like there's that festival back there, they wanted content. So I would say, you could have your own. Yes, that's right. Perfectionism. It was. I could not believe that they chose it. I was so critical, and having come from a professional background where you're only as good as your last job, and you get paid really big money to be on a shoot. Those television commercials can cost a lot of money to make. As freelancers, you get paid very well. So therefore, you set yourself a standard. But I think the new standard, it doesn't have to be scripted. It can just be sincere and authentic. And people, if we're inspired by someone's message, that's great. It's just those ladies that were in Celebration of Life. That was a transformation to, there was a Celebration of Life being screened in Canberra. Because the people that were there watching that, they went and did their own Celebration of Life. So you can be an influencer. You don't have to, have big eyebrow, painted on eyebrows, and look like an influencer. Actually, I sounded like I was being critical. I didn't mean that. It's just look, and I have an app that I've been producing, and everybody has eyebrows that suit them. You don't have to take a template and actually follow somebody else's idea of what a perfect eyebrow is. So yes, these ladies all had their own personality. The olive branch was just showing me. I originally called it the colored girl, but apparently that wasn't fashionable. And my mum's name's Olive, but my father's middle name's Garnet. So it's not surprising that color has been prominent in my life. And my siblings, one has green eyes, I have hazel, one has blue, one has brown. And so I love diversity. So I'm glad I've waffled on, because I've got to a point that's really important to me, and that is diversity. And I have been a teacher of many years over the last 25 years, and actually I have the privilege to teach international students. When I was working on people's hair, makeup, style, I got to a place where I couldn't do it anymore because it made me sad. People's self-image made me sad. And, the beauty in people is individual. It's not the latest fashion. Fashion changes every year. It has to, otherwise they wouldn't make any money. So people's how people see themselves is really important. And these days we're being expected on some level to be upfront. Like here I am. I'm actually a shy person. I've got a big personality. Trust me. I'm confined to this square, but I can actually sort of jump around a classroom. And I'm like, if any of my students were playing up, I'm like, I'm watching you. Like I talk that. It's like they try and be naughty. It's like, forget it, honey. You have to get up really early in the morning for that, because I think education needs to be very engaging these days. And there are people here that have great stories to tell. There's plenty of place. It's not confined just to a classroom. There's a whole world out there. And if you can brand, I don't want to say I don't like the word brand. It's impress. Brand is only a new word since 1997, people. Branding is a new term that I am getting used to. But I like to think that you're impressing your message, and you'll be impressive if it's your own message. Branding gives the impression that you're somebody else's property, brand. But you have your own intellectual property. I'm raving now. Stop jumping at Aldwyn. I'm raving.
That's fine. That's what we do. We're shooting the breeze. So whatever comes.
That's it. There's a name for a podcast. Shooting the breeze. There we go.
Yeah, there you go, shooting the breeze. That what comes out is meant to come out, I always say. So, it's good not to be scripted, I think, when we're doing this. And part of being authentic is going with the flow of the conversation. We never know exactly where the conversation's going to go. We have called this celebrity branding secrets. So we do plan to give you a few good tips around branding. And you've already mentioned, Jaki, the importance of having some good photos, having a good bio, having an outlet or a channel to put your brand out on. Now, what do you think about, I've heard some branding experts before say that you should always have makeup on as a woman when you're going to be presenting to camera. Now, what is your opinion of that?
Well, I started off with makeup, but I'm actually so hot under these lights, I don't have much left on.
Yeah.
I'm also breaking a rule because some people say don't show your arms. There is particularly if you're in an important role, women shouldn't show their arms. Or
yes, I've heard that too. I'm doing the same. Yep.
Yeah. Or probably your bra strap, But you've got, some people are lucky enough to have a stylist there who will make sure that you don't have your bra. That's beautiful what you're wearing, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So the luxury is you can please yourself. I'm from do what you want to do way of thinking. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I didn't have some makeup on. It enhances your skin tone. So 65% of communication is visual, or actually 93% is non-verbal, I should say. So therefore, if you haven't, it could be a distraction for somebody who expects you to have makeup on. So in the back of their head, they'd be going, oh God, I wish they could wear some lipstick, or eyeshadow. And then somebody else would go, oh, she looks so natural. My mum, I'm glad I remembered, this is one of the best things she ever said to me. You can please some of the people some of the time. You can't please all of the people all of the time. And goodness me, do we let that get in our way? Really, really, really. I know I do. This perfectionism jumps up from time to time, and I'm horrified of it. I can't do that. It's not right. It's not right. But, as I say, sometimes, and then I don't do it at all. Because you've got to sometimes just step up and go, well, I can get on here without my lipstick on, or I can get, or not do it at all. So, everybody has rules and comfort zones. Now, not everybody needs to be on camera as well. And that's the thing these days. I mean, talking heads, this is what we're doing. It's a 2-shot, and we're talking heads. But there are a lot of mediums that can actually simply be audio. What we're discussing here could be a podcast. So who cares whether you're wearing lipstick or not, at the end of the day? Because they're only listening, and people go, oh, but this is a myth that I need to address right now. People go, oh, I'm not going to do a website like that because there's too many people, somebody's already doing it, or I'm not going to do a podcast because there's always somebody doing that. Well, if you've been in a car of late, you will notice that they have dashboards that rival any computer that you've ever sat at. Like before, when I had my car, I don't need a car. I get around how I get around Uber, whatever. But I used to have my air conditioning was my windscreen, my window. I'd wind my window down in my car, and that was my air conditioning. Like now, these days, the cars, you've got all these bells and whistles like you're in a cockpit. And also in those cockpits are radios, access like iTunes. You can pick up any radio station that you like, probably, in your car. So you could be listening to a radio station in the US. I listen to a radio station in music. I love streaming music, and I listen to a particular R&B station, Accenture Radio, when I'm walking to Woolworths. So the look is just one way that you can purpose your media, your content. radio is another one. And I just want to give a heads up to boomers who are often intimidated by technology. And you have probably the best stories. You've got the longest life, lots of experience, and been brought up with radio first and foremost. That was probably our first form of entertain or channel was radio. And so and these days probably finding somebody who's even interested to listen to what you're talking about. The grandkids are off, on their PlayStations and those type of things, whereas somebody else would be quite hot, would love to reminisce about certain things. So don't be put off about having your place in the world because you don't want to be seen because you're too old, or you're not looking the part, or whatever unfortunately sad thing that you might feel about you don't have the look for television, for example, or for camera. It takes all kinds to make a world, and at the end of the day, if you're making sense, then someone may want to listen, and you could inspire somebody in their day. That's all. So lipstick, it's a small part of things. Yes, I've painted many faces over the years, as I said before, hundreds of shoots. But some of my most favorite moments were working with everyday people, and I just say Robert Kiyosaki. I was on his team. I know some people wouldn't have heard of Robert Kiyosaki, but I used to be on his team, and that's when it gelled for me. I was, in my day job, I was, working on shoots where I was being paid very well, and then I would go and work in more of a personal development area, and that touched my heart, more so, that someone could go, oh, I didn't know I could wear that. And they can see themselves for the first time. And then there are other people we can make over people, and after they got changed out of their $1,000 suit into their back into their jeans, they still look like $1 million. How did that happen? Because they shifted. There was something about them that shifted and owned it. Whereas somebody else will get back into their jeans and their t-shirt, and it was like they hadn't had the experience. Nothing had happened. So I think one of the celebrities and people identity can lose their, they're not always going to be celebrity forever. People have their time. There's trends, etc. Even with jobs, trends, and so they lose their identify with that role. And so these days, more than ever, and that's what I'll talk about a little bit more in tomorrow about the real brand. It's a great opportunity these days to be yourself, be real, because there are more opportunities, places, faces, opportunities for people to bring their knowledge. We're in a knowledge economy as well. And you see celebrities turning more to stories. What's his name? I see some celebrities, and they're not in movies. They've just got some really awesome messages, and they're really inspiring. They've moved more into personal development than they have into cinematography. So, and their brand, because they have their audience, is suited to influence their fans.
Matthew McConaughey's one of those. Matthew McConaughey's amazing. He does some really great, inspiring talks that I've seen on YouTube.
Can I Reeves? What's his name?
Yes, I know who you mean.
The nice looking one. Reeves. He's that's it. Google it. And also Jim.
Keanu Reeves.
And
Jim Carrey.
Carrey, yes. It's become more spiritual. Russell Brand, ironic, just more spiritual, seeing more meaning and more depth in things these days. Because the thing is, we must remember that television and films, etc., is a great escapism when we need that in our life. We need some fun and laughter and different emotions to tap. But also, it's not real. And so these same medias, the cameras and lights, camera, action, can be platforms for learning, and that's what's happening through the pandemics now. Education are needing to use those same screens to actually educate people, because it's access, it's a delivery mechanism. So
Yes.
a channel, sorry.
Yes, and there's major opportunity now through COVID. Content consumption online has gone up by more than 60% since COVID. You know, Zoom, did you know that Zoom, the platform, hit 300 million active daily users in March this year? So when COVID hit, Zoom had been growing like this, right? And then suddenly COVID hit and it went like this. So Zoom is like, you know, this is the way people are communicating. I mean, we're not on Zoom now, we're on StreamYard. I mean, there's many platforms you can use to get your message out there. But Zoom is something, you know, people are going on there to do swimming lessons and yoga lessons. And, you know, there's so much that we can teach people and create courses around in this new economy, where you can reach people worldwide with an online course, no matter what you look like and no matter what your experience. If you know more than 10% more than someone else, you can teach something. Just 10% more. You don't have to know everything about a topic. In fact, you'll never know everything about a topic. You never will, no matter how much you do, because things are constantly changing. You know, the world of mass media, I have a mass media mastery program. That world is consistently changing. You know, Facebook recently merged messages with Instagram. Facebook owns Instagram. You know, now messages are across both streams. You know, things are constantly changing. Algorithms are changing. Social media, the technology is changing. And if you don't change with the times, you are going to get left behind. And more than that, it's about being comfortable in your skin. You're talking about confidence before, Jaki, being comfortable in your skin and not being too critical. A lot of people are very critical of themselves. You know, just look at how you can be of service with what you do, right? It's only when the attention is focused on you, when you're worrying about what you're looking like, that nerves are going to come up, or you're going to put yourself down, or, you know, any of those things, which, you know, can happen to everyone, where we have negative self-talk, right? It's a matter of noticing that and letting that go, right? Always look at how you can be of service, what you can deliver. And in fact, the baby boomers now have so much wisdom they can share, you know, so much wisdom. Things have changed so much over the last, you know, 40 years. You know, it's only 1950s they had TV and radio, as you say, you know, like technology has changed ridiculously. And this is it. If you're not changing with the time, and if you don't have your brand also consistently changing. I mean, look at Madonna. Now, Madonna's an interesting brand example. She's someone who's consistently changed her image over time. She's kept her image really fresh. She's out there. Okay, she's a bit sexual. We know sex sells. Well, that, you know, Kylie Minogue put those little hot pants on and spinning around. Suddenly her hits went through the roof as well. So we're not saying you have to take your clothes off to be known out there as a brand. You know, there is a formula that works in the music industry, and that was the Stock Aitken and Waterman formula too, with Rick Astley as well back then. Kylie Minogue were doing her pop thing. You know, and good on her. She's you know, she's hung in there, and she's done some amazing things over time too. I don't think she needed to flash a bum like that, but anyway, there you go. She did it in that Spinning Around song, and the hit was huge, and now she's a mega superstar, right? So it's
it's a bit of a pattern interrupt from when she was on Neighbours as Charlene in the overalls, you know. And this is the type of thing that to make a difference. I wore rollers in my hair for the photo for this. I'm thinking, well, you know, pattern interrupt, because yes, I've been a hairdresser. I'm really interested in creative thinking. It was a favorite subject that I taught, was creativity and innovation. But I want to say that back to Robert Kiyosaki for a second. Unless you understand leverage, you're working too hard. And the great thing about all this technology, it gives us platforms so we can share it, so we can be asleep while this is running. I mean, there's a particular likelihood that this will be, someone will be watching this tomorrow. And like I was watching Craig Ingham's, your interview with Craig Ingham last night, and enjoying that, the one about the hemorrhoids. Yeah, exactly right. I know. I was with you, girl. I was with you. I was listening to that. I was thinking, yeah, I understand. I hear you. But leverage, unless you understand leverage, you're working too hard. And, you know, the thing is that there are different ways and ways you can present your knowledge. And I'll talk about that. And intellectual property, we give value. We give value to the things that we work hard at. God, that was hard work. I'll go when's payday. Whereas the things that are natural gifts and come naturally, go, oh no, don't worry about that. I'll just cut your fringe. It's okay. No, don't. I'll just, fix your lawnmower. That's fine. No. And people have these natural gifts that they don't even realize has value, and they will put value into their physical property, but they won't put value in their intellectual property. And it's the intellectual property that you can actually leverage.
Yes, absolutely. And using a platform like video where you can actually leave a legacy. Every time you do a video, you can leave a legacy. You can reach people worldwide. And that's the thing, is a lot of artists and creatives particularly don't charge enough for what they do because they love what they do. They're happy to do it for free. But no, this is the thing, you have to value yourself. People who pay attention. So you actually need to be charging for what you do so that people actually value it and will get more value out of what you do. It's fine to do some charity stuff every now and then and do some tithing, but there needs to be balance. There needs to be a give and receive balance, the yin yang of life. We need to be open to receiving and giving also, to have that flow of life and the flow of money. Same, be grateful when money's going out, be grateful when money's coming in, right? Allow that flow to happen.
I'm almost like jumping through the screen on this one. Sure. I just have to make this comment about value. There's a word, it sounds like a big one. It's because it's an ology word. It's called axiology, and it's about ethics and visuals. And I've just done a 9-year PhD looking into the value, what is valued. And I found that creatives are not taught how to value their work. And with intellectual property, it's not taught about intellectual property. And that's a book that's coming from me. I just did 9 years. Excellent. I've presented my research at Cambridge University, etc. I'm a student from hell, dropped out of school at 15, but went on later and got a master's degree in multimedia design. So it's never too late to learn. So I say to you, and the internet provides so many courses, etc. But I think that my research, as I say, was about the value. Our value, we're not necessarily taught. And as I say, the things that come easiest to us are the things we just give away, and which are of great value to somebody else. So, if someone's thinking, oh, I'd like to do a course, well, that knowledge could be, because we're in a knowledge economy, and as you said before, Aldwyn, with the COVID thing, people are turning to update their skills. Even technology is so much easier these days than they were years ago. So don't let an outdated fear put you off doing something that there might just be you can outsource it to somebody who loves doing it, for example, by just sending them an email. Will you do this for me? But we've got old thinking, and creative thinking is important these days. And it's not necessarily going to make you look silly, big, creative, it's a childish thing. It's not a childish thing, because the bottom line, I suppose, my final sort of comment would be, we just all want to be happy, and children know better than most how to be happy. They just surrender and just go with the flow, as you were saying earlier about the flow, and you never know. You never know unless you give it a go. I just plagiarized somebody's thing there, so I just Anon. Someone else said that. I didn't say that. Yes,
absolutely. So be comfortable in your skin, be creative. As celebrities, one of the celebrity branding secrets is to be creative with your brand. I mean, look at Steve Irwin. How creative was he? I mean, you remember him, don't you? Look at Dame Edna Everage. Look at like a lot of famous people, very creative, right? Cyndi Lauper, she's a classic example. Look at Lady Gaga.
True Colors. Cyndi Lauper, I was watching her video for beautiful cinematography for that song, True Colors.
Yes, and girls just want to have fun. I love that.
Exactly right.
Yeah, so be creative. Now, we have our Mass Media Tribe event tomorrow night. Jackie's going to be giving away a whole lot more secrets on branding, and we're talking about the 5 real you brand secrets. Before we wrap up today, any final sort of celebrity branding tips you'd like to share today before we wrap up today, Jaki?
Yeah, I'm just thinking that because celebrities are generally in a role. They're playing a particular role. So I would say that be the person that you want to be remembered by, remembered as, I would say.
Yes.
Because trying to be something that you're not is hard work, and that, you know, you will find your people being yourself as yourself. You will find your people. You will find your soft place to fall. You will find being authentic is you're going to find people who are like you for who you are. And yeah, so I would say yes, be your real self. And there is plenty of people, and they're not just here. They're not just on the end of this, where am I, this mass. They could be over the other side of the world. They could be somewhere else. You do not necessarily have to influence your local market, or your local supermarket. You know, there's leverage. You can be somewhere else with your unique thing that you enjoy. That was a long answer, wasn't it?
Love that. Love that, Jaki. Thank you. And no matter what other people think, your job is not to please other people. Your job is to please yourself when it comes to your branding. And some people are going to like it, some people aren't. And when it comes to what you do too, you know, obviously you want to give the best service you can with what you do. However, you're never going to please everybody, right? And a great example is my Media Queen logo, right? My caricature, right? There's some people that hate that cartoon. Yeah. And there's others that love that cartoon, right? And so I actually put on Facebook, actually, it's interesting, I was in LA with 2 film producer friends, and they said, we're going to get you a proper cartoon. They both hated the cartoon that you can see in the corner of this screen now. They hated it. They said, we're going to go to Disney and we're going to get you a cartoon. And they had a cartoon drawn. It was like a princess media queen, right? And that was a lovely Barbie doll type of media queen. And it wasn't expressing what I wanted to express. And with the brand, I want to express celebrating your uniqueness, bringing joy and love and light to the world, right? The princess Barbie doll did not display that, right? It was very pretty, but it was not what I was wanting to get across with the brand Media Queen. So, you know, you're going to get people that are going to love what you do and hate what you do. And I do appreciate my film producer friends. It was very nice of them to take me there. It was good to get another perspective. And then I put both cartoons up on Facebook. And if you go back through my Facebook feed, you'll see the 2 cartoons and you'll see the hundreds of comments. Some people liked one, some people liked the other. And, you know, in the end, I thought, stuff it. I like it. I'm going to stick with it, right? I don't care. But it was interesting just to get the, you know, you always going to get people that love and hate what you do. So you be true to yourself. That's one of the most important branding tips we can give you today. Be true to yourself and do what makes you smile and your heart smile, and share your knowledge and wisdom. Overcome technology. So many amazing tips we've shared. Now, Jaki, you are also phenomenal one-on-one. You did an amazing session with me. You did my hair and my makeup and colors, and I love that session with you. So if people want to work with you one-on-one, how can they connect with you?
Well, obviously that's a time and place situation. I'm in Brisbane. So there's 2 ways people can work with me. They can work with me on, if they're on the Gold Coast or Brisbane, or possibly up Brisbane way, for discussing colours, a more holistic look at image. And a second way is as a coaching sessions. I'm only having a limited number of coaching sessions with people just to look at their holistic brand, help them with their clarity, etc. The different styles of them, because we have multiple styles, which I will discuss in tomorrow. So yes, meanwhile, if you just like to just email me, I am going through my own brand change, and there's a message in that. You would think, well, if someone's doing a branding, why wouldn't they have their website? Because it's important for me. There are whole new things coming in 2021. I am a tech person as well. I have a master's in multimedia design from Sydney University, and I've been teaching in multimedia, and there's going to be some new changes in 2021 with marketing, that unless you are your authentic self, you're able to brand your authentic self with evidence, you're going to find that your ranking will fall down the search engines. Okay, that's a little bit of technical speak, but I'm saying that. So it's a great opportunity for you to position yourself for next year. So I will have a calendar. I'm in the process of putting up a few dates for people to choose from, but this is for 2020. I don't know that I'll be doing this coaching in 2021 because I'm producing a leverageable artifact that I can help more people with than one-on-one. So did that answer the question? So yes, my email.
Brilliant.
You can just email me at, shall I say it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Webucator. That's WEB. I have lots of domains as well, by the way, but I will tell you more about that another time. You don't need a logo and you don't need a domain. You need to know who you are first. Okay, Webucator, WEBUCATOR, Webucator@gmail.com. Could give you a whole lot of other emails, but the most important.
That's fine. Webucator@gmail.com. I'll just put that in the chat.
Yeah, for those that simple, and just put Aldwyn Media Queen in the thank you in the subject line. So
okay, so mention Aldwyn Media Queen in subject line. I'm just popping that in here in the chat as well.
Yeah, so I know where you're coming from, because if I don't recognize your emails, as I say, I'm a tech person. I taught a lot of internet security and those type of things, so I'm a little bit more, who's that person? I don't know. Am I going to delete them? So
yes,
anyway,
cybersecurity.
I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Aldwyn, because I've really appreciated chatting with you. You're a real inspiration, and that you put these platforms forward for positivity, and I was really drawn to you. So you can be complimented, because as I say, I've worked with a lot of celebrities, and to me, you've got. I was drawn to you when I thought you're authentic. I like that. I feel that there's a trust, this new thing that's coming in the new year, expertise, authority, and trust. Somebody might have expertise and authority, but whether or not you trust them or not is another thing altogether. Well, you have those three in spades, right? You're upfront, you're unapologetic, you know what you stand for, and those type of things. And that's what's coming up. You need to know these things, people. Eat in the future, and also so that's just one of the things. We'll talk the rest tomorrow, but you typify that. You're the real package, Aldwyn.
Thank you, Jaki. I really appreciate that. That's a huge compliment coming from you. I've worked with so many celebrities and amazing people. I really appreciate that, and I think you're extraordinary as well. It's been fantastic. And actually, how we connected, you came on some of my events, and then we got chatting, and then next thing you know, we're working together. And then I said, you want to come and speak at one of the Mass Media Tribe events? And here we are. It's happening tomorrow. In fact, at this time tomorrow, 24 hours from now, wherever you are in the world, 6 till 8 p.m. Queensland time, we've got the 5 Real You brand secrets at the Mass Media Tribe Meetup event. And I'm actually going to pop the Meetup link right here for you into the chat, so you can actually register on there. It's in Eventbrite. It's on Facebook. If you just look up 5 Real You brand secrets, come and join our Mass Media Tribe group on Facebook and on Meetup there at that link. It'd be fantastic to have you there. It's a free event, 2 hours. We'll get a chance. Everyone who comes gets a chance to introduce themselves. Also, I'll do a short segment on how to get free publicity if you want to get in the media. Then Jaki Jaki and I will have more of a chat about branding. You can ask her whatever questions you like, and then we'll have some fantastic giveaways at the end. But you need to be on the live event to be a winner, and everyone's usually a winner at the Mass Media Tribe events. And Jaki, you are extraordinary. I love your authenticity, and I love your courage and your naturalness and your drive, and you are such an inspiration and so humble. You're so humble about what you've done. You know, when you sent me your resume, I was blown away at all the things you've done, and you're just phenomenal. And it's such a pleasure knowing you and getting to know you even better as we move forward through life. You're an absolute gem. Thank you so much for your time today and for being our guest tomorrow night at the Mass Media Tribe Meetup. Any final words, Jaki?
Just do it. There was just do it. I know that is a slogan, but find your own slogan. I remember putting up "Just Do It" on the fridge, and within 24 hours, magic happened. But then when I put "Just Do It," I got nervous. It was just awful. And I knew that this time that I had gone, "Just do it," I meant it. Because we can go, "Oh, we're doing this, oh, I'll do that," and leave it. But when you get nervous, that's a sign that you're ready to do it. And then after the rest was history, I thought to myself, why didn't I do that before? I got nervous and I stopped at nervous and I didn't do it. Whereas just do it, and yeah. We're going into new times, people. I just say,
absolutely
celebrate yourself.
Absolutely, and it's never too late.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's
never too late. It's never too late to start sharing your message, share your wisdom with the world. You know, you could be dead tomorrow and there could be no legacy of you out there other than maybe a few photos with most people, right? So actually sharing your message further afield, sharing on video or audio or just sharing in some way anyway, get yourself out there and step up with your message, because I do believe that we are all extraordinary and there's a lot of wisdom I'm sure each of us could share. And if you are the world's best kept secret right now and you want to be a star, then this is the journey to take, is to actually step into your own stardom that you already are, step into that and allow yourself to shine bright so you can light up others around you. And just back to Robert Kiyosaki, if you haven't heard of Robert Kiyosaki before, he is the owner and the author of the whole Rich Dad, Poor Dad series now. He actually wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad in 1997. He was on Oprah on the 27th of April 2000. And at the end of the 1 hour show, Oprah turned to Robert Kiyosaki and said, "Congratulations, Rich Dad. We have just sold you 1 million books." And they were $5 per book he was making at the time US. So he just made $5 million at the end of that 1 hour show with Oprah, 3 years after he released Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So if you have a book you've released or something you've put out a while ago and maybe no one's heard about it, maybe it's time to revisit that, relaunch that, because it's never too late, right? Never too late to get yourself out there and get your products out there many years after it's been produced. Even if we don't know about it, then it's new for us, right? If you can always relaunch something and put yourself out there. It's never too late. So hopefully you've had some wisdom from this. If you have any questions, comments, please pop into the chat. If you like what you've seen today, please like or love it. If you're watching it on Media Queen TV on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to Media Queen TV on YouTube yet, then please do so. We have over 500 videos on there, amazing interviews, such as the one with Craig Ingham, who's a local Gold Coast actor and entertainer. We talked about hemorrhoids and acting, how to make your star shine was the subtopic. We were going to call it Why Acting Can Give You the Shits, but we thought, no, we'll leave that out. It's a little bit too confronting. So how to make your star shine seemed a lot more appropriate. And we do have a lot of laughs in that interview. So if you want to see that, that is on Media Queen TV as well as many other interviews with the likes of David Icke and some other phenomenal people. Michael D'Amico Rowland, who's no longer with us. I have 2 interviews with him on Media Queen TV. And we captured his legacy on there. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. And his beautiful wife Paulina is in Byron Bay area, carrying on the legacy. He did a book and a movie called Absolute Happiness. Actually, it's a phenomenal man he was, and I'm so grateful that I captured that interview and helped capture his legacy with that interview, with 2 interviews we did with him. And that's the thing, is please step up, share your message, be seen, be heard, be known. It's time. It's time. The time has come. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much, Jaki. Please join us tomorrow night. Mass Media Tribe groups on Facebook or Meetup. Register on Eventbrite. You'll get the Zoom link. All the links are there. It's on Facebook. Just Google it, 5 Real You Brand Secrets. The link is also in the chat there. And I'd love to hear what you got from today. Please pop in the comments. What did you learn? Any questions? We will come back to you and answer all of those. Thank you so much. Thanks once again. Jaki, any final words, Jaki, before you wrap up? I could chat to you all day, Jaki.
Oh, no, I keep having these other things. I didn't know that about Michael Rowland. So that was just new and sort of, yes. So, but yes, if you have questions, even if you don't, if you're a private, quiet, shy person, these type of platforms are not, might not be for you. Like you might just like to listen in the background. Don't be shy. You can still just type or send an email or something like that, because there's lots of ways. There's not just media that you can use for following your hobbies. There are different types of ways that you can enjoy yourself, have fun through. So it's not just cameras, microphones, and obvious. The book. I just want to say Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book before Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I'll discuss tomorrow. So I'll leave it with that. There's a book that I will discuss tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Now, he did do Cash Flow Quadrant. Was that after? That was after Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes.
That was after. So there's another one before.
There's another one before, which is very interesting given the times that we're going into. Okay. So
fantastic.
You might want to Google it. It's out of print, but good luck with that.
Okay, we'll reveal all,
because I'm sure people want their dinner tonight, so I'm just
yes,
trying to
we'll let you go. Thank you so much. We'll catch you tomorrow night. Mass Media Tribe, come and join us. Join the group on Facebook and Meetup. You'll get all the details in the events section. Thank you so much once again. And remember, shine bright and light up those around you. And also, as Gandhi said, be the change that you wish to see in the world. And just do it. Just do it, right, Jaki? Just do it. We'll see you there tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye.